G'day humans, Chris Stead from Finder here. We're talking NFT games. So today, bit of a special treat. I'm talking to the CEO of MyMetaverse, Simon Kertonegoro. Now, Simon's crossed my radar a few times over the last 4 years. He's been working on this MyMetaverse project. He was previously also working with Enjin, and he's doing some really cool stuff. So I just wanted to get an overview of what's happening with the platform he's working on, the titles he's been building to, I guess, show what this platform can do, and also I've just found out there's some new games getting involved with the platform as well. So let's jump in and have a chat to Simon. So mate, let's start back in 2018. We're starting to see the crypto boom. We're starting to see people get interested in the idea of blockchain. You know, NFTs aren't really a thing at this point, but there is one company, an Enjin, which is looking into interoperability. You're working for them at that point in time. You're also kind of laying the foundations for your MyMetaverse concept. So can you take me back to those early years?
Yeah, that was so exciting when I first found Enjin because, you know, I always really believed in blockchain's ability to provide transparency to the markets, obviously, because everything's on a public chain, but also fairness and freedom where, you know, someone in a low socioeconomic country can trade with, you know, someone in a Western country just like that, with no middlemen taxing the whole process. So blockchain was always a huge passion for me. And then when I found Enjin, it was like a light bulb struck. It's this is how companies can use blockchain to create products. And the best, the most powerful forms of products in the world, fully transparent, fully interoperable, you know, complete freedom of ownership over those products. They're basically, you know, it was the key to onboarding business and enterprise into the blockchain, because cryptocurrencies were kind of different where, you know, people had to adopt them and then companies had to start accepting it. That's it's not really a very smooth adoption process. The network effects of that don't really, it's not you know, it's not as automatic as companies just make awesome products, put it on the blockchain, promote it out there, market it to the world, and then, you know, it blows up. And, you know, from when I found Enjin, it was always my belief that the NFTs and frankly just products on the blockchain would become the most powerful and tangible kinds of digital products in the world. The kind of huge hype that occurred a couple of years later, obviously in 2021, that kind of validated it in a way, but it still has to play out the way that I envision it, where, you know, where companies are legitimately making products that provide benefits from owning it. And when you own it, then you can start to unlock benefits in different games and apps and even in the physical world. But you know, that's really the future of this space. And yeah, from when I first started kind of working at Enjin, it was all of those things combined that really drove me and made me just relentless in our quest to be able to push this movement forward.
Right. So, and now we are in 2022. It goes to the end of 2022. It's a long time since you first started looking into it. So, at this point in the MyMetaverse journey, how does MyMetaverse work fundamentally?
Yeah. So essentially, fundamentally, we're trying to help game developers please gamers, really. So we're trying to do mainly what Steam does, basically. So Steam, that's it's a game discovery platform, right? So players go to Steam to find games, and then they play them. So we have that same service, but on top of that, you know, we also see a vision where the true power of NFTs is not only the fact that they're transparent, you own them forever and you can trade them freely, but also because they're so interoperable, you can start to integrate them into many games. And that creates, you know, the most powerful form of digital product in existence. And MyMetaverse is built on that foundational premise. So really the secondary goal of MyMetaverse is not only to promote the games, but also give them the power of the multiverse, which is what we call it when items are usable across multiple games and experiences can transcend a single isolated gaming world. So we want to be able to give these games the ability to provide multiverse items to their players. And then the players can then use those across all of the games on our platform. So that's the vision, and we're achieving that by removing all of the 30% fees and this kind of stuff that Steam charges, and just saying, all you have to do to join our platform is adopt one of these NFTs, and we'll give you extra incentives to adopt more. So that's the model of our entire movement. And what turns out is we have all of these gaming items that are already usable in 4 games, and 9 more games are confirmed to join our platform now. So there's certain items that will be usable in 13 games once they launch. And who can really argue against that? Like, these items are carbon friendly. In fact, they are backed by carbon credits, every single one of them. Like, we are officially the most eco-friendly gaming platform in the world. And these items are usable in multiple games. You can own them forever. You can trade them freely. There's no restrictions. There's no way us, or any game developer can take these items off you. So who can really argue that these aren't superior digital items compared to any kind of centralized form of gaming item, And that's really it. Like, we just wanted to show the world that this is how it's done. This is the potential. We know that there's been problems, but those problems can and will be solved, and we're solving them. And this is the result. And this is what happens when you take a positive view of the future and you fight to make that future happen. So yeah.
I mean, one of the groups that is arguing against it, I guess, is those hardcore traditional gamers who will say, what's the value? So from your perspective, like, what is the value of having your item as a cross-game NFT?
Yeah, so I mean, look, I totally understand their perspective as well. So I don't want to sound judgy and just write off their opinions, because frankly, it is easy to look at kind of the uncomfortable things that have occurred in the NFT and crypto space, and kind of write off the whole movement and not be able to see beyond that into the future. But what lies beyond is a very beautiful thing, because now you can play a game, you can earn an item, and then you can use it in multiple games. It starts to unlock this new level of creativity for game developers, where they can say, okay, so this is going to be a car in my game, but in this other game, I'm going to I'm going to make it a character, but still keep still reference the actual item. And you as a player, you get to have this item that essentially lasts forever. As long as you're staying within this multiverse, you never lose the utility of this item. You can move from game to game. It's only natural that, as a gamer, we always want new experiences, and every gamer is different. We all want different experiences, but as long as we can provide all of those experiences, your item and your hard work to earn that item can be persistent. And you don't need to leave it behind once you leave one game. You don't need to leave the reputation you built in that one game behind either. You deserve to have an identity that carries with you from game to game, a more valuable reputation, a more meaningful experience. And that's what we're fighting for. So, I've been a gamer my whole life, and I do understand the kind of social ethics that we hold as gamers. But I think there's a way to do both. It's not black and white. There's a lot of color in between, and we're really trying to prove that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a few people in the space who have spoken about having cross-game NFTs or cross-game items. But are they truly cross-game items, what you're seeing out there? And what makes, I guess, a multiverse NFT different from what other people may be pitching in the Web3 space?
Yeah, so the hardest thing about making cross-game items is making it beneficial to the game developers who adopt the items, right? It's a clear benefit for players. You have an item, it has, it unlocks benefits in multiple games. That can only be a good thing. But the problems come when you ask a game developer to do that. They create a model for the item, they create gameplay mechanics for the item, they do all of this stuff to adopt the item, but then they don't always get a tangible benefit from it. It's you get some promotion or something like this. So we had to invent a way to make sure that the developers got a tangible benefit. So what we did was we created a reward system that can plug into any game mechanic. And then the game developers can just ping our API every time they want to give that reward. And once players stack up enough of that reward, they can convert it into a multiverse item. And that allows game developers to say, hey, look, here's a really great game loop we have. Our dungeons are amazing. Not only can you earn our items, but you can also earn these multiverse items as well. So it's this whole new reward system that they and kind of extra economy that they can plug on the side of their existing economy. It doesn't need to compromise anything they've already done. It just adds more value to everything they already have. So we literally, we spent many years really trying to perfect this formula, and the only way to do it was we had to build our own games and learn and walk in the shoes of game developers, create very different kinds of games, and then create a system that solved this problem for all of the games. And now we have, and it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, I mean, one of the common things that I'll hear from traditional gamers, I guess, and I spend a lot of time talking to traditional gamers, being that I write a lot about games in that space.
Yeah.
And someone will say, well, why would I get a Call of Duty gun and I can just take it into Dark Souls or something? And I'm kind of like, well, that's not what they're talking about. Is that kind of a barrier that you come across when you're trying to explain this to people?
Yeah. So basically, what we try to do is we try to create items that have a lot of flexibility, right? And that is a legitimate concern, and it's kind of like a hilarious legitimate concern as well. But so how we try to solve that is, we try to create items that have a lot to them. So for example, the NFT could be will generally be a character with a sword and a gun and a helmet and all of these different potential assets that a game developer could use in their own creative way to create utility that suits them. Not every game does customizable skins or skins that can be owned. Not every game does swords. Not every game does guns. So we need to try to add that flexibility in there so they can use their own creativity to create something awesome as far as utility for that item that really adds value to their gameplay as well. So it's all about just being flexible and trying to solve these problems in collaboration with the game developers, and we'll always find a way as long as we do that.
Yeah, and is it specifically in your mind about the item? I've always thought, when I think about interoperability in the Web3 space, like Amiibo, where you have this thing and it's an item that you own, but it might unlock completely different things in different games, not necessarily be that specific item, but owning that NFT may unlock something in another game. Is that also part of the puzzle here?
Yeah, I mean, frankly, it doesn't, it can be literally anything. It can unlock anything. It could unlock a door, it could give you a skin, it could give you a car. There's no limitations. Whatever adds value to the player's experience, that's all that really matters. We also have how we govern this is we allow players to govern our whole platform, right? So they can actually vote on which games they prefer. And frankly, players are earning these cross-game NFTs. They're always going to prefer the games that are offering the best experience in context with the NFTs that they're winning as well. So we have a full governance system where players essentially vote, and then that boosts the games up the ranking. So it's conscious governance. It's not just there's not really any way to game it except for actually getting players to consciously vote for you. And the other thing that also governs is the amount of value that flows through the games, the amount of these multiverse items each game can distribute essentially. So the more votes you have, the more NFTs you can distribute, or the more of these points that earn NFTs you can distribute. So these systems are things that we had to build step by step as we started to find these exact problems that people are bringing up. And all of these problems are legitimate, but they just needed to be solved. That's all.
So you mentioned before about you felt like you needed to build your own games or your own experiences first here, and two of those were starting with building out servers that integrated Minecraft and GTA, two of the biggest brands in gaming. So why start with those two brands?
Yeah, I mean, mainly because they're awesome games, but also because they're such different games. So Minecraft is all about, the kind of immersive exploration of this never-ending world, and kind of being able to create your own, your own life, your own digital life there in a way. It's a really relaxing and kind of deeply moving game, where GTA 5 is like just intense and it's all about go, 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 and, you know, battle. And so we had to, you know, this problem of cross-game multiverse items, this whole solution, it needed to serve any game in the world. You know, we want to be able to serve survival games, mission-based shooters. We wanted to be able to serve MMOs, dungeon crawlers, casual games. I mean, even like pinball machines, you know. So we needed to like really diversify what we were going to plug it into to really find the market fit. So yeah, Minecraft, we've built a Minecraft server that really kind of accentuates the core values of Minecraft. You know, people can start playing and they can earn free NFTs, and those NFTs are like land plots, and you know, you have true ownership over the land that you build there. So then you can build something beautiful and pass it down to your kids and this kind of thing. And then GTA, it's all about missions and like, you know, intense like gameplay. And this is actually what I really love. Like I love like getting my adrenaline pumping when I'm playing. So yeah, that's all about like the cars, and all of the NFTs there are like, you know, literally vehicles like planes and cars and boats and all of this kind of stuff. So, you know, the reason why we had to do this was, number one, to walk through the shoes of game developers, understand how hard it is to be a game developer, how paramount it is that we solve their problems, and we do it with empathy, and we really do it in partnership with them. But also so we could literally just say, all right, these are two very different games. Here's one system, plug it in, both games are better. So yeah, that's why.
Must have been interesting then when you saw, I guess, the very anti-NFT vocalization by the Mojang guys. Was it start of 2021?
Yeah.
Or towards the end of 2021. How did you hear anything from them directly, or you know, what were your thoughts when you read that?
So we've been, you know, our Minecraft server is like 4 years old now. Like we've been doing this for a long, long time. And Mojang did find out about us about 4 years ago. And they literally asked one of our partners about it. And, you know, I was shown the message and everything. And it was just a question mark, but nothing eventuated out of that. So we thought, oh, cool, all clear. So we kept building for years. And then kind of during the big NFT hype, a lot of projects started building like kind of gameplay mechanics that literally broke Mojang's end user license agreement. So in their EULA, you can't create pay to win mechanics because Mojang is very protective over the player experience, and so they should be. You know, they want everything to be fair. They don't want you to be able to purchase an item that reduces the funds someone else has. You know, that's very reasonable. They also stipulated that you can't have real value currency in the game as well. So then like a lot of servers came out, you know, they're selling like items for $10,000, $20,000 that like a insanely pay to win. Like they like control the whole world. And if you own this, your experience is, you know, like insanely more pleasurable than anyone else's, and you can completely control everyone else's experience. And then they also had DeFi in them, like literal just currency flowing through it, cryptocurrency flowing through it. So, you know, my biggest regret was not like promoting our Minecraft server harder for the first 3 years and getting in front of Mojang and being able to show them like our vision for having more tangible items in Minecraft. I think that would have been a great conversation, and it would have, the result would have been very different. You know, who's to say whether or not they would have supported it or rejected it, but it wouldn't have been so vehement. Like it wouldn't have been so like 100% sure of themselves, like this is 100% a bad thing. So you know, all those years back, you know, who's to say who within Mojang was actually asking questions about us? You know, obviously it wasn't the whole company, but yeah. So right now, like Mojang has now announced that we don't like NFTs. They haven't actually changed their end user license agreement though. So if you go through that, that's the legally binding agreement that we agree to as a server, and there's no mention of NFTs yet. So we're still completely following Mojang's rules, and we've always followed their ethics and their values. We've always been, you know, we're gamers. We totally agree with them 100%. So that's how we feel about it. We have to see like what happens with the end user license agreement. If they literally just say no NFTs, then we'll have to pull our NFTs out essentially, and we'll probably keep the server up because people have built beautiful things there, and you know, we want those memories to last. And I still jump in there and I'm just like, oh, it brings me back like 4 years, like we've been making this. It literally takes me back to like moments 4 years ago. So yeah.
Well, there's also Infinity Realms, which is the MMO that you guys built as alongside those two servers. Is that also a proof of concept, or is there something more to that?
Yeah, that's what we're investing in moving forward. So probably like a year ago, like before Mojang really, like, you know, made their kind of feelings clear on the matter, we knew that it was risky to, like, you know, put all of our time and money into building, you know, a platform that any other company controlled, whether it's Mojang or Rockstar. You know, and frankly, I think Rockstar is going to be very, very friendly with NFTs, and you know, it's a very adult kind of ecosystem, and you know, they're very technology driven. So I think that's going to be a little bit different, but still, like, you know, we needed our own game, we needed our own platform, we needed a place, and we knew that MyMetaverse as a platform would need like a social hub, and MMOs are very, very hard to build and scale. So we thought that, you know, we're going to be working with lots of indie games, lots of casual games, lots of like dungeon crawlers, and all of these guys are going to benefit from having like a kind of MMO experience that they can plug into, essentially. So the MMO, we've consciously made sure there's no PvP, so we're not competing with any PvP games. There's no dungeons, so we're not competing with any dungeon crawlers, which there's some amazing ones in the Web3 space. You know, there's no casual gameplay, and there's lots of potential for us to integrate their items, and in return, they can integrate the MyMetaverse items. So that's how, you know, when you join the platform, you only have to integrate one item, the Governors of Infinity item, but to incentivize more utility trades and more of the MyMetaverse items to become multiverse items, we offer utility trades with our MMOs or the GTA server or the Minecraft server. If you're a game developer and you want your items, you know, it could be the items that you're selling on your store. It could be the items that are attached to a really important game loop. If you want your items to be more valuable, we'll plug them into our games and we'll do that for you. And all you have to do in return is a 1-for-1 trade, plug one of our items in as well. So that's how we're going to grow the multiverse, basically.
Well, let's talk about growing the multiverse. You mentioned at the top there that you've got 9 new games, I guess, coming to the MyMetaverse ecosystem. You've opened up to third-party publishers. So, you know, what's the take-up been like? Obviously, you've had 9. Has there been a lot of talk with other developers as well? And, you know, who else is getting involved, and how will that rollout happen over the coming, I guess, years?
Yeah, so the beautiful thing about adopting MyMetaverse is, like, we've made it so simple that our API can be integrated within 2 hours. So literally, for you to be able to integrate something within 2 hours, be able to offer multiverse items through a game mechanic of your choice, and be able to read blockchain wallets on all chains we integrate into. So right now it's Efinity, JumpNet, and Ethereum. It's unheard of. Like, there's no system in the world that can provide that much value so easily. So we're getting an amazing response in that regards. When it comes to the conversations, usually the only thing that is a concern is obviously their existing roadmap. Like, for example, right now Halloween is around the corner, so everyone's like 100% working on that. So we just need to allow them to clear the roadmap, and then we can start working on the integration. And then there are other considerations to make, like the actual UX of the wallet, and the actual integration of the item, and what you want it to do, what gameplay mechanic you really want to boost within your game, and that's where you'll plug in our point system and start giving these multiverse rewards. So there are like some considerations, but on a coding level, it's 2 hours to integrate us. So yeah, that's a big reason for the momentum that we have. But yeah, in general, the really, like, the only reason not to do it is some other kind of prior commitments, or maybe like you know, working with a competitor and having deals already signed, or something like this, like some kind of like non-gameplay related issue, non-development, some kind of business issue that's not related to gameplay or development or anything like that. That's literally the only reason to not do it. So yeah, it's going really well.
Is there any kind of holdback as well with potentially the formats that those games are on, or even the chain that they're using?
Not really, because they just read our API, and then we tell them if the user owns an item or not, and that item could be on any of the chains that we're integrated into. So, like if you're a Web 2 game, like you can plug us in and turn it into a Web 3 game within hours. So it's there's not, and then the items that are minted through our platform, they will be cross-chain as well. But again, like we're providing all of the data through a single endpoint. Developers just read the endpoint and they can see whether or not a player owns an item.
And where does Enjin sit in all of this? Like, are you guys united, or are you kind of now competing in the same space a bit?
Yeah, I mean, we're adopting their platform and their chain. Like Efinity is the chain that's integrated right now. So if anything, we're onboarding games into the Enjin ecosystem.
I guess like the other question is like, how does MyMetaverse make money?
So these cross-game items, we've created a form of play-to-own rewards where players can, whenever a player mints an item, 60% of the value that's used to mint the item gets locked inside the item. And then 40% goes into the multiverse reward system that then flows through games. So you can see that. So next time around, next month happens, 40% of the value has gone to gamers, and now they've got all of this value to go and mint more items. And then they do that, and then again, when they mint the items, 60% of it gets locked inside the item and taken. So you could think of it as the currency gets locked inside the item, and then 40% again flows back through the games. So how it works out is that 70% of NFTs on our platform are minted with earned currency. And our currency is actually carbon taken from the atmosphere. It's carbon credits, like fractionalized into kilograms. Where 23% of that, 23% of those NFTs are purchased with money. So you can pay by PayPal. Our platform the UX is amazing. You can jump in there, you can mint an NFT without even knowing what an NFT is, or a crypto wallet is, or a cryptocurrency is, or a blockchain is. You can literally purchase some carbon, which is our currency, using PayPal, and then you just press the mint button, and then that NFT will then land in your account with us. And then once you want to learn about getting a wallet and everything, then you can withdraw it onto the blockchain and take full custody over it. And that's what we recommend to do. But yeah, so that's how we monetize. 23% of all NFTs are purchased from us. 77% are earned through our partnered games.
Right, beauty. And finally, I just wanted to talk to you about the idea of the way that people think about the metaverse, and they think probably of the Oasis in Ready Player One. So if we're looking like 2 years from now, what experience will users have when they dive into MyMetaverse compared to what they may think the future is going to look like thanks to one particular movie?
I mean, it's a great movie. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, but it would be a horrible reality, right? Like, it's a dystopian future, and that's not even the biggest problem. There's only one platform left. There's only one game left, essentially, but it just happens to be multiverse. The whole games industry's gone. Like, hundreds of thousands of amazing developers out here cease to exist. Like, that's not what we want. And frankly, that kind of platform can't compete with the hundreds of thousands of game developers out here who are creating custom experiences perfectly suited to their audiences. And like, if you're a player, like you have a preference in what you want to play, but also that preference grows and evolves, and you want to have different experiences. You can't do that with Oasis. And frankly, we've seen people's attempts to try to create the Oasis today, and they're not even as good as the movie. So we don't even want that movie to come true. And even if they try, they do like a worse version of it anyway. So, but like specifically with MyMetaverse, what our target is to have at least 200 games on board within 2 years. So you'll be able to come in, you'll be able to play those games, you'll be able to earn carbon, which is literally taken out of the atmosphere, out of humanity's carbon footprint, footprint. So you are saving the world by playing these games, and then you're using those carbon to mint NFTs, and some of these NFTs, especially the Governors of Infinity, will be usable in all 200 games. Like, this is like, imagine that. Imagine like anyone trying to say, nah, NFTs aren't that good. Man, this NFT is usable in 200 games. Like, what centralized item is as good as that? Nothing comes close. So on top of that, obviously, we really want to be able to work with the game developers deeply, create like amazing, unique experiences, like cross-game quests. Like, you finish this task in this game, then you move to this game, then you earn an item that's usable in this game, and then you move it to this game, and then you use it to go to the next step of the quest. You know, once we really start collaborating together and getting really creative, we're going to be able to do amazing things.
Mate, sounds fantastic. Simon, I really appreciate you taking us through everything you're working on at MyMetaverse. It really does. It sounds like a very cool vision. I'm stoked to see how far it's coming along already, and looking forward to learning more in the near future.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the time. I love your work. I've been a fan of your videos for many years, many years. And you know, you've always known your, I don't want to say the S word, but you've always known it. So great to talk to you, man. Thanks for the time.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers.